that another influential teacher in their lives has returned today to speak with them. It's my pleasure to welcome Thomas J. Gazzola as our commencement speaker. He's currently Assistant Headmaster and Academic Dean of St. George's School in Spokane, Washington. And this is his second graduation in just about 12 hours, excepting for the time change from Spokane, Washington. And we thank him and we thank the class for bringing us all together for this event. In 1987, Tom joined the Queen Anne School community as Assistant Headmaster. In July of 1988, Tom had an opportunity to take a one-year trip around the world. What a great opportunity. What a great thing for a teacher to bring back to his students. After his world travels, he returned to Queen Anne as area chairman for the humanities and English teacher, where he was responsible for introducing many new classroom methods, for beginning our peer-to-peer coaching evaluation process for faculty, and for helping to create the famous ISP, Major Curriculum-Wide Senior Independent Research for Faculty. I guess this is the last day we can mention it. Prior to Tom's coming to Queen Anne, he taught in California and Hawaii. He received both his master's and bachelor's degree from Stanford University. And as last year, we regretted letting him go back to the West Coast, this year we particularly welcome his return to bring us news, to bring us greetings, and to bring us a reacquaintance that will be tremendously memorable and valuable to our school. Tom Gazzola.
Congratulations to the class of 1994, and best wishes for the future. I'm sorry, I had the last page on top. Not an entirely inappropriate error, since, as Britton pointed out, all endings are beginnings as well. So that ending became my beginning. Now let me put the beginning sort of in the middle. But before I get to the beginning, let me preface the beginning by expressing that I am honored to be here. I'm grateful for the chance to return to Queen Anne, and even more grateful for the bonds with the class of 1994, which made that return possible. Now on with my speech proper. It's about time. My speech, that is, it's about time. Time is a pretty versatile item. Sometimes we think of it like money. You can make time, have time, keep time, lose time, find time, save time, or spend time. Sometimes we don't treat time very well. We take time, beat time, break time, waste time, and even kill time. Of course, then you'd have to do time. And yet, for all we do with it, what do we really know about it? We don't even know where it is. Sometimes we think we're on it, sometimes in it, sometimes out of it, or over it. Wherever it is, we do know that it has a nick in it. We also know that it comes in 3 flavors, like Neapolitan ice cream: the chocolate past, the vanilla present, and the strawberry future. And we know that it's relative. Some of the past several weeks probably seemed to trudge by like months, while others flew away in a seeming matter of moments. Time can be stretched or squeezed. You've probably seen charts where they compress the history of the Earth into a single day, wherein people only appear just before the stroke of midnight. That whole analogy seems designed to make a person feel utterly insignificant. On this of all days, you graduates should not be reminded that your entire lifetimes are but electrons on a hydrogen atom in a water molecule in an ocean of time. So I won't mention it. So let's reverse the analogy. What if your lives here at Queen Anne were compared to the history of the world? You began in the dim, dark recesses, the primordial ooze of early adolescence. In 7th grade, you were like simple organisms, just trying to get by and stay out of the way of the larger predators of the campus world. 8th grade, when the raging Hormonosauruses ruled the land. Jurassic Park, the biggest and fiercest creatures in the middle school, but you had yet to evolve into the higher orders of life. 9th grade, and you achieved mammalhood. Then Then came 10th grade, the primates, learning to use the opposable thumb and the opposable viewpoint. This is where I was fortunate enough to make the acquaintance of this group. Junior year and humankind was born. You used tools, developed speech, reinvented the wheel, fire, love, anger, and other necessary items. And now senior year and graduation, just in time. And continuing in this historic vein, you were born about the time this nation was celebrating a new century, and about the time I was preparing to graduate from high school myself. Now the wheel of time has turned, and you are graduating, and Cassie and I are awaiting the birth of our first child, due in November and set to graduate in the year 2013, when you all will be about my age now. Like graduation, having a child is both a beginning and an end. 6 years ago, I dropped everything and took off to see the world. 6 months from now, I won't be able to do that again in quite the same way. I'll at least need to bring along an extra change of diapers. Your parents signed on for a long and thrilling journey about 18 years ago, and it was thanks to their courage and love that we have so much to celebrate today. As a prospective member of the Loyal Order of Parenthood, I urge you to thank them explicitly for their support, companionship, and love on the journey. Recently, the news has been full of stories about suppressed memories and invented memories. It seems that people can be guided to remember things that never happened. I heard one story about a woman whose first recollection was the popping sound of the sperm coming to join the egg at her conception. That has some scary implications, but the good part of this news is that it confirms that we have some say in what we choose to bring with us from the past, the chocolate past, as I called it before. Sometimes it's bitter, and sometimes it's sweet, and sometimes both. And like a Whitman sampler, you'll have some say in what pieces you choose to take. It's been said that whoever dies with the most toys wins, but I think that's nonsense. Whoever lives with the best memories wins. And in this game, nobody has to lose. In the past 6 years, you've had over 1,000 days of classes, over 6,000 class periods. You've shared the campus with hundreds of people, from Brian Spellbring and the rest of the seniors when you were just starting out, to the current 7th graders, all the teachers, the staff, and for a couple of years, me. You'll have some say in what and whom to carry forth with you, which memory toys to keep in the chest. Now, I'm not suggesting that you should only choose the sweet. My own collection from my 2 years with you includes a wide assortment. Cliff, pull my finger, Harris, giving a speech classifying different types of boogers. Britton Humphrey having his arms ripped off in an updated video version of Dante's Inferno. Aaron Spellbring describing the convolutions of romance in the 90s. George Moore in shimmering gold lame asking for one last kiss. Daniel Haxel in a tux asking my wife to dance. Chris Bird trying to figure out what the heck Dostoevsky meant in the opening of The Underground Man. Shalik Alexander giving one of her looks when she thought you were full of it. Shalik as she lay dying in the hospital not much later, which began a year tragically that ended with a surprise going-away party at the Buntings, for which I'm eternally grateful. You have thousands of memories to choose from. Choose with care, but choose. The scrapbook of your brain has a huge number of pages. My recommendation is to pick an assortment that includes more sweets. These aren't fattening at all. Of course, the past years weren't just about friends and socializing. This is a school, after all, and we want you to take away some lessons. To measure our success, I've compiled one last examination for you. The ultimate comprehensive high school final exam. I'm going to give it to you now, but you'll take it for the rest of your lives. Are you ready? Okay, then we'll begin. On behalf of the Social Studies Department, your final exam consists of 2 parts. First, you're to vote in every governmental election in your district. In order to get full credit, you must select your candidate for a reason you would feel comfortable explaining to both Mrs. Firebaugh and Mr. Keene. Second, you must recognize that people of different ages and from different lands are more fundamentally similar than they are different. To hate or fear one race, nation, or type of person is to lose credit for this portion of the exam. Now, on behalf of the math department, first, you must recognize that $49.99 is much more like $50 than $40. Second, you should be able to tell if the larger size is really a bargain. Then you should be able to subtract your expenses from your income and have a remainder. And finally, you must help your children with their math at least through the 10th grade. Of course, this last will require some multiplication on your part first. For the language department, you should at some point in your life travel to an unfamiliar place and make conversation with the people who live there. This place could be Nepal or the neighbors across the way who just moved in. You score points for identifying differences in culture between you and the people you visit, with additional scoring for appreciating those differences. And for the science department portion of the test, you are to provide the questions, sort of a Jeopardy format. When a doctor, a plumber, a contractor, or anyone tells you something you don't understand, you're to ask questions of that person. To do so successfully means you must come away with understanding. Additionally, if a child or friend asks you a good question and you don't know the answer, you are to try to find out. If you think curiosity is deadly, you should see how mind-numbingly lethal its absence is. There's no time limit for this portion of the test, and it's open book. In fact, it's open world. Now, for extra credit, you can generate your own questions out of the blue. Things like, why do we say out of the blue in cases like that? Do we call oranges oranges because they're orange, or do we call orange orange because it's the color of oranges? Or what would a folding chair look like if people's knees bent the other way? From the PE department, you're to enjoy physical exercise for the rest of your life. This may be taking a walk or playing a game of basketball, but you must enjoy it. For the English department, we also bifurcate or split our exam. In the reading portion, you must read books for pleasure and for challenge. To score better on this portion, you have to read more, talk to someone about what you read, and a couple of times a year, you have to try a book that you don't already know you're going to like. You also have to read to your children. I guess I have children on the brain. In the writing portion, you can pass by writing your own thank you notes and business letters fluently. Extra credit for writing personal letters, and you get an A if the person who receives those letters really knows what you're thinking and feeling, and an A+ if I'm that person. From the fine arts program, you can pass by occasionally attending productions, performances, concerts, galleries, and museums. To get an A, you also have to participate. You can paint at home, sing in the church choir, sing in the shower for that matter, but somehow you must let yourself be an artist. Will you pass? That blabbermouth time will tell. One thing is certain, and that is time will. Pass, that is. Time passes. The vanilla present is forever slipping by. And the key, I think, is not to be passive. Don't just let time pass you, pass it as well. Passing time is often considered to be wasteful or extravagant. But I think it's assertive. Passing time suggests that you are at the wheel. If you're as fortunate as I, your job will be a pastime, a pleasurable and fruitful way of living. But whether it is or not, you need to find pastimes. They can be small or grand, fleeting or enduring, but be on the lookout and choose your own ways to pass your own time. One of Cassie's and my pastimes of late has been looking at names for our child. She likes the traditional, Elizabeth or Christopher. I prefer the more distinctive, like Nebuchadnezzar or Spud. We've taken to poring over books filled with names and their origins in search of compromise. Oddly, the books generally refer to their lists as baby names, as if that was the only time a person used the name. But nevertheless, I like these books, and especially learning about where names came from in the past or what they foretell for the future. You probably already know what your first names mean. My own, Thomas, means twin. But I found a book which does the same for last names, and I found what each of yours means. For example, Haxel. It's a compound name which consists of three parts: ha, ex, and all. The name means a complete person who will find humor and joy in unexpected places. He's considered becoming a teacher, and his class would be one where students would experience laughter and encounter the previously unknown. Stone, a solid-sounding name, but not in fact derived from its obvious source. The name actually comes from Saint One. Kenneth may not always have the glow of the saintly about him, but if I dug deeply enough, I always found a good and caring heart. And there's never any doubt about the other part of his name. Kenneth is one of a kind. Brooks, lively currents which babble as they go busily about their way. They touch opposite shores in friendly fashion and bring life wherever they pass. Creatures come to brooks for refreshment or just to relax and have a good time. Energetic, communicative, direct, and refreshing. Lynette shows that moving waters can run deep too. Spellbring, to come bearing enchantment. Erin's surname belies her ability to charm people and draw them to her. In her case, the spell-bringing is a two-way street. Erin also finds the enchantment in others and has a magical ability to befriend a remarkable assortment of people. Alert, aware, on top of things. The sort of person you can't put one over on. Alert also means to take special notice of. I hereby issue a Tana alert to inform the world that this is a woman to be reckoned with. She will be heard from. Shepherd. Now, one meaning of this name is a caretaker, one who looks after others and their well-being. A quiet soul who lives peacefully amidst the bustle of the world. A second meaning is sheepherd, or female leopard. From this derivation, Sally is a fierce, proud, powerful, determined individual. Either way, this is someone you want on your good side. Fadul. Dahlia's surname is another combination, this time of fa, the fourth note, and do, or not quite do. This name informs us that the bear will have the qualities of music, the variety and range of emotion, the expressiveness, the ability to remain on the mind, the artistry, and the beauty to make every day a little more interesting, a little less dull. Yoder means one who yodes. Yoding is an uncommon word because it's an uncommon practice. It consists of smiling broadly and shyly at the same time, while keeping the most intriguing of thoughts hovering just behind the twinkle in your eyes. Anne is definitely a yoder. Bird is not just an ordinary bird. A bird with a Y does not merely fly, it soars. It does not merely call, it challenges. This bird may not always know just which way it's going, but it will have a heck of a time getting there. You can't keep this sort of bird in any cage, gilded or not, and it defies easy classification. This most exotic of birds bears watching. Pearson does not, as you might expect, come from son of a pear. It actually derived from P.E. arson. Now, Micah demonstrates this through his constant physical energy, his love for playing games, and his passions for art and honor, which I've seen burn brightly within him. Arson suggests that the fires will burn in unexpected sorts of places, and that the fire starter will be something of a rebel. Both of those are also true in Micah's case. Humphrey's another triple. This one combines hum, ph, and rey, or Spanish for king. Hum, as a nonchalant person does who's too cool to sing the words. pH to suggest balance and a certain organic chemical attraction for others. And Ray, not only for the extraordinary facility with the language, which he garnered from Signor Cleland, but also because whether he's on top of a wave or at the head of his class, Britain has the self-assurance and regal bearing of a leader. Bradley means like a Brad, as in, you did that pretty Bradley. Brads, of course, are a type of nail. They're strong, quiet, efficient, effective, and constant. The sorts of things you'd notice most if they were missing and things started to fall apart. Garrett often behaves rather Bradley. Mseka comes from a West African word meaning one who is asked to leave the library. Actually, I don't know what it means, but if I were designing the language myself, it would mean a person of grace whose smile could serve as a beacon and whose laughter could quench a lonely heart's thirst. Say it is a contraction of say it, and Noreen will too, whatever's on her mind, whether it be offbeat or on target. The question others were too shy to ask, or one which would never have occurred to another soul in the world. Noreen will say it. The emperor wouldn't have lasted 5 seconds in his new clothes if Noreen had been around. Murray is an Italian name. Gary probably didn't know he was of Italian descent, but I could always tell there was something special about him. In fact, there's an Italian song that goes, pardon me, when a guy plays the post, though he's 5'6" at most, that's a Murray. If loud laughter rings out whenever he's about, that's a Murray. It goes on from there. Now, Beal is an abbreviated form of BLT, the famous sandwich. One of Ken's ancestors invented the BLT, and as Ken's fondness for and success with investing demonstrates, the lineage still knows what to do with bread. In fact, until I realized that he would only have been 4 years old, I assumed it had been Ken who had given Hillary Rodham Clinton those investing tips. Menser, an obsolete profession, this one. In days gone by, most villages would hire a person to mense, which consisted of walking about the village and making people feel better. Some mensers did this by being funny, others by being kind, and some just by the way they cut their hair. Bunting. When I was young, my friends and I played a lot of baseball in the summer. We always had a rule, no bunting. This wasn't because we didn't like Billy. We didn't even know him, really. But bunting is frustrating. The batter merely taps at the ball, just enough to get by, and then winds up on first base with a big grin on his face, having accomplished his goal with a minimum of effort on his part. I taught Billy during his sophomore year, and I considered several times saying, no bunting. Swing for the fences, Billy. And finally, more. Was originally pronounced mo-or, as in mo money, mo better, and so on. It indicates that in George, you will find more to dig, more to discover, more to save, more to treasure than in ordinary folks. Well, that concludes one of my pastimes. Your own pastime has been blessed by each other, by the teachers and the staff of Queen Anne, and by parents and families who have loved you. You have a present filled with possibilities, the vanilla white moment in time when you're free to choose your course in life. You can decide what comes with you from the past and where you will take it in the strawberry-colored future. May that future be sweet and fruitful.